The Complete Works of William Shakespeare by William Shakespeare. Act 4. Scene I. Westminster Hall. The Lords Spiritual on the right side of the throne, the Lords Temporal on the left, the Commons below. Enter Bolingsbroke, Omerle, Surrey, Northumberland, Harry Percy, Fitzwater, another Lord, the Bishop of Carlisle, the Abbot of Westminster, and attendants. Bolingbroke. Call forth Bagot. Enter officers with Bagot. Now, Bagot, freely speak thy mind, what thou dost know of noble Gloucester's death, who wrought it with the king, and who performed the bloody office of his timeless end. Bagot. Then set before my face the Lord Omerle. Bolingbroke. Cousin, stand forth, and look upon that man. Bagot. My Lord Omerle, I know your daring tongue scorns to unsay what once it hath delivered. In that dead time when Gloucester's death was plotted, I heard you say, Is not my arm of length, that reacheth from the restful English court as far as Calais, to mine uncle's head? Amongst much other talk that very time I heard you say that you had rather refuse the offer of 100,000 crowns than Bolingbroke's return to England, adding withal, how blessed this land would be in this your cousin's death. Omerle. Princes and noble lords, what answer shall I make to this base man? Shall I so much dishonor my fair stars on equal terms to give him chastisement? Either I must, or have mine honor soiled with the attainder of his slanderous lips. There is my gage, the manual seal of death that marks thee out for hell. I say thou least, and will maintain what thou hast said is false in thy heart blood, though being all too base to stain the temper of my knightly sword. Bolingbroke. Bagot, forbear. Thou shalt not take it up. Omerle. Excepting one, I would he were the best in all this presence that hath moved me so. Fitzwater. If that thy valor stand on sympathy, there is my gage, Omerle, engaged to thine. By that fair sun which shows me where thou standst, I heard thee say, and vauntingly thou spak'st it, that thou wert cause of noble Gloucester's death. If thou deniest it 20 times, thou least, and I will turn thy falsehood to thy heart, where it was forged, with my rapier's point. Omerle. Thou darest not, coward, live to see that day. Fitzwater. Now, by my soul, I would it were this hour. Omerle. Fitzwater, thou art damned to hell for this. Harry Percy. Omerle, thou least. His honor is as true in this appeal as thou art an unjust, and that thou art so, there I throw my gage, to prove it on thee to the extremest point of mortal breathing. Seize it if thou darest. Omerle. And if I do not, may my hands rot off and never brandish more revengeful steel over the glittering helmet of my foe. Another Lord. I task the earth to the like, forsworn Omerle, and spur thee on with full as many lies as may be hollowed in thy treacherous ear from sun to Sunday. There is my honor's pawn. Engage it to the trial if thou darest. Omerle. Who sets me else? By heaven, I'll throw it all. I have 1,000 spirits in one breast to answer 20,000 such as you. Surrey. My Lord Fitzwater, I do remember well the very time Omerle and you did talk. Fitzwater. 'Tis very true. You were in presence then, and you can witness with me this is true. Surrey. As false, by heaven, as heaven itself is true. Fitzwater. Surrey, thou least. Surrey. Dishonorable boy. That lie shall lie so heavy on my sword that it shall render vengeance, and revenge till thou the lie-giver, and that lie do lie in earth as quiet as thy father's skull. In proof whereof there is my honor's pawn. Engage it to the trial if thou darest. Fitzwater. How fondly dost thou spur a forward horse! If I dare eat, or drink, or breathe, or live, I dare meet Surrey in a wilderness and spit upon him, whilst I say he lies and lies and lies. There is my bond of faith to tie thee to my strong correction. As I intend to thrive in this new world, Omerle is guilty of my true appeal. Besides, I heard the banished Norfolk say that thou, Omerle, didst send 2 of thy men to execute the noble Duke at Calais. Omerl. Some honest Christian trusts me with a gauge. That Norfolk lies, here do I throw down this, if he may be repealed to try his honor. Bolingbroke. These differences shall all rest under gauge till Norfolk be repealed. Repealed he shall be, and though mine enemy, restored again to all his lands and seigniories. When he is returned, against Omerl we will enforce his trial. Carlyle. That honorable day shall ne'er be seen. Many a time hath banished Norfolk fought for Jesu Christ in glorious Christian field, streaming the ensign of the Christian cross against black pagans, Turks, and Saracens, and toiled with works of war, retired himself to Italy, and there at Venice gave his body to that pleasant country's earth and his pure soul unto his captain, Christ, under whose colours he had fought so long. Bolingbroke. Why, Bishop, is Norfolk dead? Carlyle. As surely as I live, my lord. Bolingbroke. Sweet peace conduct his sweet soul to the bosom of good old Abraham. Lords appellants, your differences shall all rest under gauge till we assign you to your days of trial. Enter York attended. York. Great Duke of Lancaster, I come to thee from plume-plucked Richard, who with willing soul adopts the heir, and his high sceptre yields to the possession of thy royal hand. Ascend his throne, descending now from him, and long live Henry, of that name the fourth. Bolingbroke. In God's name, I'll ascend the regal throne. Carlyle. Marry, God forbid! Worst in this royal presence may I speak, yet best beseeming me to speak the truth. Would God that any in this noble presence were enough noble to be upright judge of noble Richard! Then true noblesse would learn him forbearance from so foul a wrong. What subject can give sentence on his king? And who sits here that is not Richard's subject? Thieves are not judged but they are by to hear, although apparent guilt be seen in them, and shall the figure of God's majesty, his captain, steward, deputy-elect, anointed, crowned, planted many years, be judged by subject and inferior breath, and he himself not present? Oh, forfend it, God, that in a Christian climate souls refined should show so heinous, black, obscene a deed. I speak to subjects, and a subject speaks, stirred up by God, thus boldly for his king. My lord of Hereford here, whom you call king, is a foul traitor to proud Hereford's king. And if you crown him, let me prophesy the blood of English shall manure the ground and future ages groan for this foul act. Peace shall go sleep with Turks and infidels, and in this seed of peace tumultuous wars shall kin with kin and kind with kind confound. Disorder, horror, fear, and mutiny shall here inhabit, and this land be called the field of Golgotha and dead men's skulls. Oh, if you raise this house against this house, it will the woefulest division prove that ever fell upon this cursed earth. Prevent it, resist it, let it not be so, lest child's children, cry against you. Woe! Northumberland. Well have you argued, sir, and for your pains of capital treason we arrest you here. My Lord of Westminster, be it your charge to keep him safely till his day of trial. May it please you, lords, to grant the common suit? Bolingbroke. Fetch hither Richard, that in common view he may surrender. So we shall proceed without suspicion. York. I will be his conduct. Exit. Bolingbroke. Lords, you that here are under our arrest, procure your sureties for your days of answer. Little are we beholding to your love, and little looked for at your helping hands. Enter York with King Richard and officers bearing the crown, and see. King Richard. Alack, why am I sent for to a king before I have shook off the regal thoughts wherewith I reigned? I hardly yet have learned to insinuate, flatter, bow, and bend my knee. Give sorrow leave awhile to tutor me to this submission. Yet I well remember the favors of these men. Were they not mine? Did they not sometime cry, All hail! To me? So Judas did to Christ, but he in 12 found truth in all but one, I, in 12,000, none. God save the king! Will no man say amen? Am I both priest and clerk? Well then, amen. God save the king, although I be not he, and yet, amen, if heaven do think him me. To do what service am I sent for hither? York. To do that office of thine own good will which tired majesty did make thee offer, the resignation of thy state, and crown to Henry Bolingbroke. King Richard. Give me the crown. Here, cousin, seize the crown. Here, cousin, on this side my hand, and on that side thine. Now is this golden crown like a deep well that owes two buckets, filling one another, the emptier ever dancing in the air, the other down, unseen, and full of water. That bucket down and full of tears am I, drinking my griefs, whilst you mount up on high. Bolingbroke. I thought you had been willing to resign. King Richard. My crown I am, but still my griefs are mine. You may my glories and my state depose, but not my griefs, still am I king of those. Bolingbroke. Part of your cares you give me with your crown. King Richard. Your cares set up do not pluck my cares down. My care is loss of care, by old care done, your care is gain of care, by new care won. The cares I give I have, though given away, they tend to crown, yet still with me they stay. Bolingbroke. Are you contented to resign the crown? King Richard. I no, for I must nothing be. Therefore no, for I resign to thee. Now mark me how I will undo myself, I give this heavy weight from off my head, and this unwieldy sceptre from my hand, the pride of kingly sway from out my heart. With mine own tears I wash away my balm, with mine own hands I give away my crown, with mine own tongue deny my sacred state, with mine own breath release all duteous oaths. All pomp and majesty I do forswear, my manors, rents, revenues I forego, my acts, decrees, and statutes I deny. God pardon all oaths that are broke to me, God keep all vows unbroke are mad. You holy clergyman, is there no plot to rid the realm of this pernicious blot? Abbot. My lord, before I freely speak my mind herein, you shall not only take the sacrament to bury mine intents, but also to effect whatever I shall happen to devise. I see your brows are full of discontent, your hearts of sorrow, and your eyes of tears. Come home with me to supper. I will lay a plot shall show us all a merry day. Exeunt.